Howdy folks, Modern Miner here. Hope y'all are having a fantastic weekend so far. So today I wanted to talk about the Morgan dollar. Now I've done a video about this before, about some of the basics of the Morgan dollar, but I've gotten a few comments over time where people are asking me how can they tell if their Morgan dollar is real or fake. So I wanted to go over some of the telltale signs, or at least some of the red flags that I look for when trying to distinguish the authenticity of a Morgan dollar. So we're going to take a look at this one. It's a 1902 Philadelphia. Pretty nice coin, not too much wear on it. This is a genuine Morgan dollar. It's a nice coin, right? This one, 1901, Philadelphia. This coin is fake. And I'm sure a lot of you can tell right off the bat without me even having to tell you. But for those who are just getting started or those who want to know a little more, we're going to get into it a little bit. Now, one of the first factors that I look into when identifying the authenticity of a Morgan is the weight of the coin. And this goes for any coin, but Morgan dollars and silver dollars in particular, it's easy to weigh them out. So I'm going to open my scale, which measures in grams, and I'm going to weigh a real Morgan dollar. Now the weight of a genuine Morgan dollar should be 26.73 grams. Now this scale only measures down to a tenth of a gram, but for what we're doing, that's enough to tell me everything I need to know. So I'll try to give y'all a better view. This coin weighs 26.6 grams. Now, I'm going to allow that 1/10 of a gram for the fact that this coin is worn. You can see plenty of wear on it, on the hair, a little bit around the edges, some on the eagle you have on the eagle's breast, and the wings here. This coin has a little bit of wear on it, but not too much. So this weighs and it checks out. Now we're going to weigh the fake one. If I could show you here, big difference, 21.8 grams. That is like 5 grams short. So that's a problem, right? This coin has, at least looks like it has a little bit of wear on it, because you have a little bit on the hat, some on the hair. You can't really make out any detail in the eagle's breast feathers. There's a little bit on the wings. But overall, this coin should not be missing 5 grams of weight. So that much will tell me that this coin is fake. I don't need to look into anything else. If the coin doesn't have that much wear on it, like this one doesn't, and it is 5 grams short, it's fake. Right off the bat, don't even have to look into it, it's fake. So I will weigh out a couple of different Morgan dollars with different levels of wear. This is an 1899 New Orleans mint. This one, as you can see, has a little more wear on it. So let's weigh this one out. 26.2 grams. Now that's about half a gram short. But again, this coin has more wear than this one does, as you can see. So it's going to weigh a little bit less. And I'll allow for that because it has that wear. That coin is just fine. Now there's this one, which has much more wear, as you can see. Very worn out edges. Not as much down here, but as you can see up here, it kind of shows where this coin was contacted the most when it was used. And it has a lot more obvious wear on the front too. So we're going to weigh this one out. The weight being 25.1 grams. Now that's a big difference from 26.7. That's over a gram and a half short. But again, this coin is very worn, and all that weight simply wore off the coin over the time it was used. The big difference is the fake one, not too much wear. Another factor that I use to determine the authenticity of these coins is just the look of the coin. I mean, if you look at this one, it has an even amount of wear. It has a good color to it. Notice all these little dings and marks, all these little scratches, all these dents. You have a couple dents in the edge, this big dent in the rim here. You have these little scratches, these little marks. These are natural marks and dents and nicks from the use of the coin. I mean, this coin is well over 100 years old, and it was used for some time after it was minted. So it's going to have all those little nicks and dings on it. And the wear of the coin is even. Notice you have a little bit of wear. You have a lighter color in some spots. If you see like above the eye, on the cheekbone there, on the hair in particular, this center right here on the hair is, I think, possibly the highest point on the front of the Morgan, and that's where I look first to identify how much wear the coin generally has. But if you see all these lighter spots on here, that is all wear. You have a little bit on the hat, some down here. You might see it along the edges, little bits on the hair, this point down here in particular, some down here a little bit, but that is all wear. And you see the same thing on the other side, on the eagle's neck, wings, breasts, all the wreath all around here, a little bit maybe on the stars too. But the wear is even. If you have the wear in the hair, you have a little bit on the face. If you have a little bit on the face, you have some on the hair, on the hat there. And on this coin, what I particularly look for when it comes to the wear is, notice that you can't make out any of the eagle's breast feathers, maybe a little bit on the edge, but the details on the eagle's breast feathers are basically gone. You can't see that. And the two highest points on the reverse of the Morgan dollar is this right here and the eagle's wings, particularly the tips of the wings. So if we look at the genuine example, you have that wear on the breast feathers, but you also have wear on the wings. See that? You can't make out every little detail on the wings like you would be able to on an uncirculated example. You also have a little bit of wear on the eagle's head and neck. So you have an even distribution of wear around the coin, and that includes, if I could not drop things, that includes on the front too. So you look here, notice that the wing feathers, and I'll bring up the other one just to compare it. Look how much more detail you can see on the eagle's wings versus this genuine one. But notice that the breast feathers have generally the same amount of wear. And you can make out a little more detail on the eagle's head and neck. You can make out more details on the wings. So if those are not that worn out, then why is the breast feathers worn out? You know? There's no reason for that. If the coin was naturally circulated, then the wear should be even around the coin. And that's one of the things that I look for. Another thing that I like to look for is the color of the coin. If you look at this one, it has a much more natural color for its silver content. It has a nice gray color. This coin has a tarnished black, but it consistently has that nice gray color to it. And it's just natural for the silver to wear and become that color. And again, with this coin, you still have, even though it's very worn out, you still have that natural silvery gray that it'll get after having been in circulation for quite some time. You look at the fake one, and it's just this weird brown. I see this brown color on a lot of fake ones because I see a lot of fake ones on eBay when I'm browsing. And this brown color is very, very distinct. And especially, you'll see it around the edges. It's much darker around the edges. Sometimes you'll see, it doesn't because the brown color tends to fill up most of the fields. You won't, on some faked ones, you won't see the complete fields filled up by that brown color. Sometimes it's just around the rim, maybe a little bit beyond the stars. And you just have this really dark brown compared to a much better gray color for closer to the center of the coin. And the brown color is just not natural. It's not natural for the silver and copper content of the coin. It's not natural for the Morgan dollar to obtain that color. So I'm not sure how well this camera is picking it up with this lighting, but you can make you can distinguish it pretty well. It's just weird brown color. It's just like it's just off. And another factor that I use to determine it is some Morgans they won't even look like they're struck. They will look like they're basically cast. This one has that natural texture to it. It doesn't have this weird grainy texture like it was poured into a cast of some sort. And this one here, you can see, if you just look at the surface of the coin, it just has this weird graininess, I don't know, it's like it's made out of sandstone or something. It just doesn't look right. You have all these weird pits sometimes in the coin. You can see a little bit, these tiny black spots here. Just these weird little holes. Those will not show up typically on a naturally circulated Morgan dollar. So just these weird things on the surface of the coin to tell you that this coin was not struck by a die by the US Mint. This coin was manufactured by some counterfeiter for some reason somewhere, and it just doesn't have the look. And lastly, another thing that I look for is the specific details of the coin. Like, for example, this is a genuine 1902 Morgan dollar. The dates for Morgan dollars and the way they're designed, the way the numbers are designed, is very distinct. Notice you have a nice oval O. You have a very nicely rounded 9 down at the bottom. And the letters aren't too thick, they're not too thin. Whereas you have this fake 1901, look at the 9. Notice how bulged out it is down at the bottom compared to the genuine example here. And look at the 0. The middle, the hole in the middle is just like a weird oval shape versus this one, which has a little more of a point to it and a more distinct 0 shape, where this one is just like someone just drew a circle. And if you look at the 1s, you'll notice that little tip on the end of the 1 there is a little thicker. If you look at the 1 on this one, it's a very thin little tip that goes out. So that's another thing that I like to look for, just the details, the dates in particular. Sometimes the date itself is just a dead giveaway, especially for dates with a 9 or an 8 in them. The 9s and 8s can be very distinct. And I don't have an example of a fake 1800s Morgan, but the 8 in this one, it comes out very thickly on each side, top and bottom, as you can see, and the holes in the middle are decently thin compared to the rest of it. And on some examples, you might have a very wide middle hole and very thin ends or edges around the 8, if that makes sense. Same things with the 9s. The same thing goes. Just compare it to an example that you know is genuine. The best way to do it is look at your coin and compare it to pictures of certified graded coins on, say, eBay, or just search for pictures of real graded coins from companies like PCGS, NGC, Annex, or ICG, and just compare them. And if you have any serious doubts, then look into it further. Don't get your hopes too high, but if you see any red flags that you really have to question and just look into more, and you just can't narrow down and you just can't put that red flag down, then the coin might as well just be fake. Because real coins, and these real US minted coins, are going to have a consistent pattern, a consistent look to them, and they're going to wear down consistently. So that's another thing that I look for. So I hope this video helps. If you have any questions, be sure to comment down below. I'll put my email in the description. If you want to chit chat a little bit about maybe a coin that you have, if you have questions about whether or not it's genuine, of course, I don't know everything. I do not give people values of their coins. I do not tell people what their coins are worth if I have not seen the coin, and I do not know for sure that it's genuine, because I have a lot of people that ask me that. But if you want to correspond, hit me up and I'll be happy to help you out however I can. In the meantime, be sure to give me a like. Thanks for watching. Comment down below what you think, and don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time.